What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi did do fairly well on Friday, piggybacking off of the PCE optimism. This upcoming week, there is a lot of big data points that similarly could really push the broader market higher. So starting off on Monday, you have manufacturing, forecast is 51. So that definitely is kind of moving in the right direction ever since the lows in August when it was like 46. So anything above 50 shows more of an expansion occurring in the broader market. So that data has really been improving over the last little bit, as you can kind of see based on that right there. Aside from that, there's a hell of a lot of Fed speakers throughout the week, and especially on Friday. So I'm going to go over that in a second. But on Tuesday, just Fed speaker. Wednesday, you do have ADP employment. And then aside from that, you do have on Thursday the typical stuff. So initial jobless claims, non-farm productivity. And then on Friday, non-farm payroll, unemployment. And then this is the string of Fed speakers where you have everyone's favorite Powell at 11:30. So that should cause some volatility. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be talking on the recent increase in level of fear. So inflationary data signaling that things might be getting out of hand. So hopefully a lot of Fed speakers will kind of talk about that and calm the broader market. Aside from that, of the companies unveiling their earnings this week, there's a lot of spec plays, but nothing that could really move the market. And through that, SoFi. Only one possibly would be ticker OPFI, but still, I don't see that being feasible. And based on the Q4 earnings, SoFi did state that they were going to be partnering with a company. And I've already done a video on how I do feel it is ticker OPFI. Just no names have been dropped. And again, their earnings, maybe they might allude to something, but I did listen to a couple of fireside chats from OPFI, and I think that would be a very good business for SoFi. So whether it be some strategic partnership of some sorts, but that one is coming out Wednesday before the market, and that one potentially might be the only one to really affect maybe SoFi. But in my opinion, I think that's a little bit still not really happening all that much. But aside from all that though, no fireside chats, nothing like that planned for this upcoming week. So it is going to be just piggybacking and relying off of the broader market. There was one thing that was posted on social media, and it does show right here that on March the 7th, there is going to be a crypto summit, and attendees will include prominent founders, CEOs, and investors from the crypto industry. And with some of the recent amendments that have been made, SoFi better be there. So it's kind of like it meets the criteria with all the regulations, for the most part, allowing SoFi to invest and obviously manage crypto. It's logically, like I said, SoFi, if they want to think outside of their box, that unfortunately a lot of the recent news shows that they're sticking in the box. Like, if they have any hope of any innovation, they need to do this. They need to be there. So I'm not really sure on who is and who isn't really attending as of right now. But if we see Vlad on social media, CEO of Robinhood, if we see him starting to post saying that he's going to be in attendance, then it is fair to assume that hopefully Anthony or a member from SoFi could participate. So again, that's coming out on March the 7th. I don't anticipate SoFi to actually do any official news saying, hey, we are attending, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. What do I know? But going into this upcoming week, 12.46% at the free float is being shorted, works out to be 134.29 million shares overall are being shorted. Shorts have started to break their trend, so they did return leading into their Q4 earnings. As you can kind of see, went from a peak of 19.56% to a low of 11.83%. And they started to increase, piggyback off of the broader fear that's happening. So dependent on some of the data points and what the Fed speakers are saying, then you could see shorts again increase. When it comes to options though, I'll give you a quick overview of that. So the open interest, based on the week ending February the 28th, there's not really much to talk on with it closing below 450. That does mean all of this, so the 10,000, 14,000, 15,000 and so forth, all expires worthless. That's the downside of doing options. Do your own due diligence and research accordingly. But for this upcoming week, you don't see any crazy substantial walls. So in theory, if SoFi was to run up, you won't see any crazy manipulation coming from at least shorts and market makers or anything like that. But again, just kind of take note of that. So you have 6,000 at that 15, 8,000 at 15.50, 9,000 at that 16. Last week, you did have 6,000 in open interest. That did expire, obviously, or is going to be exercised. So market makers might have to cover that, but based on some of the transactions that did occur after hours on Friday, it is fair to assume that some of that was already done. So you have 1.01 million, 1.07, 1.12. So a lot of big transactions right here, even a very large one, looks like 1.2 million shares. So a lot of that could have already been covered. So I don't really anticipate any bump up come Monday. So again, just kind of take note of that. When it comes to the technicals though, with it closing on Friday at $14.47, closed right below this S1. So 14.49 will be a key resistance that you really want to watch for SoFi to get above early on in the week and set the good positive momentum for pretty much the rest of the days. So just watch for that. 15.45 and then 16.42 is going to be the next strong target / resistance points. And then flip side, in case there is a resurgence of fear, you're going to see 13.89 and then 12.92 as kind of support levels. Over the weekend, you've seen a lot of videos and articles. I haven't really been watching, but I see obviously the titles of people trying to spread fear that potentially this week, obviously on the 4th, both Canada and Mexico are going to be hit with their tariffs, and potentially there could be some back and forth associated to that. And last time that did happen 1 month ago, that caused a lot of volatility in the broader market. And you never know, potentially, like, I don't think the market was anticipating that 20% tariff on China, so that could cause some volatility. And a lot of individuals are saying that if that does happen, that could just be that X kind of catalyst, negative catalyst to really push the market lower. So just kind of take note of some of the strong support and resistance points. In my opinion, let's say things just go according to plan, there is no actual like back and forth for the tariffs, then I feel like it should be overall a pretty good week. But still, again, just take note of the support levels just in case. But as far as on the actual chart itself, SoFi's 100-day moving average was that saving grace. So it's been kind of trending down for the last little bit, and ever since the February 24th right here, that's when it started to pound at that 100-day moving average, the door. It really wanted to break lower, but luckily enough, it actually held like a champ. So it's been tested a good 5 times over the last week and a half. And like I said, that's going to be a key point to really watch for. So that's sitting at $14.17. So another element to, again, watch. If it does break below that, then anticipate a little bit more of a further pullback. Again, if it does break below that, just take note of some of these. So that 13.89, 12.92, because the next strong kind of support is that 200-day moving average, and that is right now at $10.66. So just kind of take note of that. Flip side, if there is some good momentum that is built over this week, good data, let's say the Feds say everything that they need to, then $15.51 is that 50-day moving average. So that is going to be a potential breakout point. And yeah, so if that does happen, then that's all she wrote. Stochastic RSI, on a side note, is considered very oversold. So if there is a good piece of news that does come out, whether it be specific to SoFi or the broader market, then you could see a nice push higher. So if SoFi, let's say, comes out and puts out news saying, hey, we're going to be participating at this event right here on March the 7th, and we anticipate to give updates on our crypto process, blah, 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 that would be enough to really push SoFi up significantly. That's just my own opinion, of course. Anything could happen. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Are you bullish this week? Neutral? What's your general kind of thoughts on all of this? As I've brought up in the past, something to take note of is that most likely it is kind of stuck in a range. So most likely it is going to be trading between that $13 and $17 range for at least the foreseeable future. Of course, it could go up higher than that and lower, similar to what happened when it was like between that 6 and 8. Always had these breakouts, but always usually got brought back into that range unless like something larger did happen on a macro standpoint. So it might just be trading between that range. So just be prepared for that. For those of you that do options, any stock that is very volatile that tends to kind of just trade within a set parameter is golden. So definitely do your research, take the time to research options, do what you need to do. Hopefully everyone's having an amazing weekend thus far. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon where I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolutely on point and bangers. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.